So these guys going to be starting shortly. I'm not sure. Obviously, it's hidden civs, so they have a couple civs to choose from. I'm not sure quite what the delay is, but I should be starting within the next minute or two. And then we'll have the first game. So, uh, anything you have to say about the maps or what's in store for
Yeah,
us here?
so game one, I've chosen. Well, in the future, the call to arms will use home maps plus one picked map each week. But today we've just got three set maps. I chose game one as Sonora, which is adapted from one of the Mad Cadders maps. It's very similar actually. I didn't change it too much. It's more or less an Arabia style map. I didn't want the players to be thrust into something crazy to start off with, but I'd say it's an Arabia style map with more regular wood, but no massive forests, and pretty much all the wood can be uh, exposed to some degree. It's not anything like the maps or Atacama where you have to fight for wood or anything, but it's just a
Okay.
kind of Arabia map with lots of smaller forests rather than big ones. But I wouldn't say it's that wallable. It is quite open. There's a couple of little quirks about it as well. You start with two scouts, and there are a few extra deer as well, so you've got the potential to be luring deer a bit more. Um, so I guess it's possible we could see something like Mongols, but in fact we're into the game already,
I'm
and
gonna
we've
turn
got
team
per.
colors on, just so you're aware. And I think it'd be wiser with the
Okay,
colors that were chosen. But welcome, guys, to the first game in Call to Arms today. We have TaToH here playing as Persians in the blue, and then across from him at the bottom of the map we have Juan playing in the red, playing as Britons. And this map is called
Sonora.
Sonora.
That's
Okay.
so
Yep.
Sonora. I was just checking for bug maps because that's kind of my responsibility as
Yeah.
admin. So, um, do did you just introduce the players? You did, didn't you? Yeah.
Yeah, everything seems to be fine as far as the map's concerned as well.
Yeah.
I was
That's my
just,
one. Go
yeah,
on.
I think it's, you had talked a bit about the map, and I think it's quite interesting. I mean, it's very much Arabia style, like you had said, and it's quite open as well. Um, so we'll have to see how these players use their civs. I mean, Persians versus Britons will be interesting. Now let's kind of take a look at the maps real quick. I'll start with Juan actually, because I did notice a couple things with his map. We have Juan. He has a couple close wood lines. There's two scouts in this map. Was I
Two,
unaware of
two,
something?
two scouts. Yeah, I was saying that just before the game started. You get
Oh,
two scouts and you get a house, so you're not pop blocked at the start as
okay,
well. Which
okay,
is just
okay.
it just it's just trying to make the start a little bit, mix it up a little bit.
Yeah, that
Uh,
definitely mixes it up for sure.
I
Um,
just wondered what was going on with the boar at the front. Like I wondered if he was trying to steal the boar with the scouts, but I'm glad he hasn't because that's actually against the tournament rules with only
yeah,
three
yeah.
games, and I don't want the games being decided by stuff like that.
Well, with the
Uh,
two scouts, that's a big deal. You can actually pick off a villager with two scouts in the Dark Age. So, um,
Yeah, and
all,
that may be what's going to happen if you look at the North Wood line of TaToH at the moment. Once two scouts are there and there's no loom at this point.
yep, he's gonna go in, and TaToH is just luring his deer. He's actually luring two deer
That's
with both the scouts, and he needs to be careful there. This might be a little bit more fast-paced than what we're used to. In the early game, I might not be able to necessarily introduce the players. That villager's going to go back to the TC to collect food, but TaToH's coming out across. I will quickly try and take a look. Juan, I mean, we're already seeing palisades. These guys are scared of these two scouts, but the wood lines are quite close for Juan, and
yeah,
the interesting thing is for Juan is he has his main goal is
it's
way
pretty
behind
nasty.
that wood.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really nasty behind that wood line. Uh, he does have some other goals as well, and they're not really in the best locations there for him. So it's not going to really be the best for him.
Yeah. Although TaToH's main goal is pretty disgusting in terms of just being able to be shot at by archers and things like that,
Correct.
especially with Juan being Britons.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, TaToH could perhaps attempt that like quite big wall off at the front between the two forests at the top of that little slope, but I don't think he will do because I think it's going to be quite difficult to get that wall up. It's quite big, and Juan may even have the range to shoot over it anyway with Britain's archers. So this is one of the most aggressive and open and risky for the players generations of this map that I've actually seen. Like sometimes they can be quite far away, sort of in opposite corners, and I imagine in that case it wouldn't be as hyper aggressive as this. But this has actually provided a very nice, exciting start. Um, it's,
I agree.
TaToH did manage to preserve that villager at his woodline, didn't he? I
Yep,
believe.
he preserved the
Yeah.
villager. He's also gotten loom, so he's a bit behind as far as eco is concerned. Of course, both these players are going to need to get loom, but
Yeah.
um, he's probably scared now. He's going to get his villagers picked off, and one probably wise at this point to defend with his own scouts. He doesn't want to um, be too aggressive and get his own villagers picked off if he does not have loom himself.
TaToH clicking up to the feudal age on just 19 villagers with 2 scouts.
Yeah.
So the thing is, if you want to do scouts just like as your feudal age army, perhaps, then you can click up a little bit earlier because you've already got 2 scouts, so you can get a larger number of scouts out more quickly. But otherwise, that seems like a very low number of villagers to be kicking up with.
Yep, my apologies to everyone on the stream. My mouse just bugged out there for a second. But yeah, so I think we're getting more viewers now that the game's actually started. So this is Call to Arms. So the civs are hidden civs, and Huns, Mayans, and Aztecs are banned. And obviously, we're kind of seeing there's been some interesting choices. Also, you can't use the same civ twice. And these were the choices. And it's going to be interesting. TaToH's clicked up 30 seconds earlier than Juan, and I mean, being Persians, he's probably going to be going scouts here, and Juan's choice is probably going to be a little predictable as well, going to be going archers at some point. So
Yeah, it's interesting that at the moment TaToH hasn't split his lumber camps. Normally, if you're going scouts, then you would see that. But I think he hasn't got another wood line which he's happy to send his villagers to. That one at the he could potentially go the one on sort of like left near his back gold.
he
But
hasn't
the one
scouted it well either. He hasn't even scouted that gold. If you look, he hasn't actually scouted it enough to know that's a decent wood line. That's really, really bad.
Yeah, I mean it could have been decent because it's certainly a better option than the 2 at the front because they will both be very dangerous, like at risk from from Juan's archers when he's Britons.
Yeah, I like the scout choice here. I mean, if you go and this type of map, well, it actually looks like TaToH's in here on the berries. I don't think it'll do too much damage. He's bringing the forward spear to deal with the 2 original scouts from Juan, and he
Yeah,
might be
that's
able to
really
pick
nice.
one off, and he might even be able to
Yeah,
get a villager if he's able to keep his scouts alive here.
the female villager looks
Yeah,
like it may
female
go down.
villager's
Yeah,
gonna
that's
go
definitely going
down.
down.
Very well done there from TaToH, and that other villager's idled as well. So. But anyway, I was going to say you have your 2 original scouts from when you start the game. So going scouts is very nice. You're able to have already an extra one to fight with. That being said, Juan is getting his archers started now.
But 3 scouts are going to Juan's pretty disgusting gold.
Yeah, he's going to find that.
Yeah, I'm surprised Juan didn't take a re in this. It may have been that he kind of not used to assessing what's a good and a bad map
Well,
because these maps are very new to the players. But
yeah. It could be that, or it's so bad that maybe he didn't even scout it. Because he went forward very early. If you remember, Juan sent his scouts forward very early.
yes, correct.
And so I'm not even sure he scouted it, and I think now he's might be kicking himself. And TaToH picking off another villager on that gold. And now TaToH's 4 villas ahead, which is a huge deal. But he has to be careful because he is a forward gold. I guess he does have the back one, and TaToH hasn't scouted his back gold. So if he loses the forward gold and isn't aware of the back one, if the archers gain some grounds, he could be in trouble himself.
Yeah, I mean, with a few archers protected by sort of 2 spearmen, Juan will be able to apply a lot of pressure to TaToH's base.
Yep.
And really, TaToH doesn't have I mean, he hasn't found the back one, and the front 2 are horrible.
Yeah.
So it's actually worked out quite well that both players have horrible golds. And this is a map that's going to produce a lot of feudal aggression, as we are now seeing. I was expecting Sonora, which is the name of this map, to lead to a lot of feudal aggression in general, but this is a pretty extreme map generation with quite a lot of unfortunate things going on for the players in terms of resource placement. It's not terrible, but it just requires that the players be guarding against initial aggression.
Yeah,
Um,
and TaToH has completely stopped even making scouts now. He's just
yeah,
going
and
into
the
skirms.
archers of Juan moving into TaToH's berries are going to pick off a villa if they're micro better.
Not
Might
very, very close to doing so, but Archer's gained a lot of ground.
Yeah,
He's,
it looks like TaToH's now walling off
yeah,
that where the area where his back gold is, which will be really nice for him if he actually finds the back gold. But
exactly.
Juan is there, and that house has only got 13 HP. Juan could even shoot it down. Will he do that? No, it's not happening.
Well, I think he sees the skirms now. He wants to go back, and he lost an archer. He's going to need to go back. That's a lot of skirmishers there. Skirmishers do have +1. He does not have +1 himself. He's definitely going to need to go back.
Hmm. TaToH retaining a 5 villager lead though, so
Yeah, that's a huge deal.
it's really big in these extended feudal wars. Because when you're kind of producing units from a couple of different production facilities and villages as well, like if your opponent's got a villager lead over you, the castle times are going to be quite a bit different.
Ooh, and
TaToH moving him
TaToH's
into
going to bring
scouts
his
now.
scouts. Yeah, that's
The archers
nice.
have got fletching in the meantime though, so they may be able to do a little bit of damage to their
Yeah,
scouts
he's
as they
going to lose
retreat.
archers, though. Some skirms.
Yeah, he's got so many more archers coming, but
Yeah.
even so, he can't fight the skirmishes head on. But he will be able to pick off that scout if TaToH moves it in. Seems like both players trying to do their best to close off their maps a little bit.
Yeah.
Had very open map generations to start with, but
Both these
there's
guys
quite
still
a lot more work for them to do in order to achieve that.
Yep. Totally agree with you. It's still open maps, and a couple skirms coming in for one now, and I think that's a smart play. He doesn't want to be just fighting his archers against skirms.
Yeah.
Now, knowing he's
that
fighting skirms here, he's actually sending out his archers in attack, I think, because the skirms are not going to be able to kill his villagers, and he knows that. So he can defend with his own skirmishers. He's going to send out this small band of units and see what he can find.
Yeah. We'll lose a couple of archers on his mill on the right hand side of the clan, that is, probably. What's nice for Juan, though, is that he's got the units on the field which will form his Castle Age army, whereas TaToH is going to be, unless he's going to stick with defending against the Britons player with elite skirmishers in the Castle Age, then he will probably be transitioning into something else. TaToH has forced a tower, though, on Juan's gold.
I was talking about... I feel as though I'm echoing in your team speak a little bit, by the way. At least I heard myself echo for a moment. But, yeah, he's losing a villager there, Juan, and I was talking about how he'd be okay to defend with his own skirms, but he doesn't have any. In fact, he doesn't have the resources to create any, and his own attack is actually coming back. He didn't kill anything. It's not really looking good. Having to make that tower was a huge waste, and I think TaToH having 7 more villagers now is a huge deal for sure.
Yeah, especially as Britons, like, you want to take advantage of the ability to drop town centres with the Britons when you hit the Castle Age. So the fact that TaToH did force that tower out of Juan is a really big deal, because Juan isn't taking any stone at the moment, so he's going to have trouble dropping TCs and using that Britain's town centre advantage when he hits Castle Age.
I'm really liking what TaToH's doing here. He's spreading his units out. He's on this gold. He's also on the wood line at the top, and we can get in the wood line as well. He's not going to pick villagers off right away, but he will kind of delay them from collecting resource.
Yeah. Looks like Juan's got to get a nice raid on the northeastern wood line of TaToH right now.
Yeah,
TaToH sees it though and pulls it away.
Well done.
I'm just going to have a look at the resources. TaToH's still on 200 food, Juan on 90 food with 300 gold, so both of these players still heavily committed to the feudal age for the foreseeable future.
I don't see how Juan's going to be able to defend from this, really. Even against the skirms, like, he's just outmassed, and he's going to lose his own skirms if TaToH's able to fight this correctly here.
Yeah, that is a lot of skirms. That's the point where they can start to kill villagers rather easy.
Yeah, there you go. It's a 22-minute game. That was pretty decisive, I think. Taking the game there is TaToH. It's the first game.
I think the scouts and then the transition into skirmishers worked out a lot better than.
I'm going to take a quick look at the achievements real quick before they get started. The next game we have 17 units killed for TaToH versus 8 lost. more food and wood collected. He didn't even touch gold. And stronger uptime, of course, which we're aware of, and 7 more villagers in total. So 7 more villagers in the end was a huge deal. I'll change the scores for you guys real quick.